So there's always a lot of confusion about the question of naturalization and what you need to do and who you need to bring. So recently I had a client asking me, Attorney Marvin, do I have to take my wife with me to my naturalization interview? So the answer is maybe, right? The answer is yes, absolutely 100% if you obtain your legal permanent residency based on your marriage to your spouse and you got the 3-year deal. So if you're able to fast forward your legal permanent residency to get naturalization, instead of 5 years, you did it for 3 years because you're married to a U.S. citizen, the answer is absolutely yes, okay? You should take your spouse with you. Some people don't. What happens if you don't take your spouse with you? Well, what could happen is that the immigration could say, you know what, guess what? We're not going to approve this request because we really need to talk to your spouse. We need to see if you're still married because, again, you got the benefit of basically 2 years off your wait time because of your marriage to that person. So if that person's not around, they could stall it. They could make you reschedule it. They could have you come back with your spouse. So it's good to take your spouse with you just in case. They may not ask anything about your spouse. But sometimes immigration, they ask questions to see your reaction or to test you, okay? So they may not really care about the spouse. They may not ask any questions of you or of the spouse, but knowing that your spouse is there sometimes means everything to immigration. So if, for example, your spouse accompanies you to the interview tests and all that stuff, even if that person is not inside the building, if they're in the parking lot, you can say, hey, yeah, my spouse is in the parking lot. Do you want me to go get her? And they'll say, oh, no, that's okay. We wanted to double check that you're still married. And then they ask you questions about that. So that's a good reason why you're going to want to take your spouse with you to your naturalization interview. There's been times where immigration says, okay, hey, because of this crazy processing time delays, your removal of conditions from your conditional legal permanent residency was not approved yet, right? So we want to review this request right now at the time of your naturalization interview. This happened to one of my clients one time. He went there for his naturalization interview, and they were asking him questions about his spouse and his legal permanent residency. They being immigration, totally have the power and authority to do that. So if you go by yourself for naturalization thinking you don't need your spouse, and they ask you questions about your removal of conditions, well, that's a bad situation, right? Because they could delay it for that reason. So it doesn't mean that they're going to deny things necessarily, but it means that it's a hassle. You're going to have to go back. It's just better to bring your spouse with you so you can take care of all these issues at the same time. Luckily, my client had his wife with him at the time, so they were able to answer questions, and immigration was okay with the fact that she wasn't in the interview. Just knowing that she was there was enough for them, and it made it so he could fast forward, he could move to the end of the interview, and he was approved for naturalization that day because his spouse was with him. Again, it's not a deal breaker if your spouse isn't there, but you usually are going to have to come back or they're going to issue a request for evidence. Who knows what they're going to do. But the point is, it's going to save a lot of time and effort if you just have your spouse go with you to the interview just in case. If you have questions, you can always click the link below to reach me directly. If you like this information, please subscribe to my channel. Please click like, notification bell, and stand by for more videos in the future. Have a wonderful day.